It goes on to say, we all know and love Katie. Nobody as far as my family is blaming Katie. We all love her because when people were telling me that Katie knew the family, I was like, how's this? Because I remember Nolan's mom saying, I never met the girl. This lady is out of Ohio. Wait till you hear about her record. She has an extensive record, guys. And not only does she have an extensive record, the other guy, actually, who got arrested the other day, his record was even worse because he was an offender. Her background report, guys, is extensive. Aggravated robbery, theft, felony aggravated robbery, felony assault, damaging or endangering, attempted, failure to disclose personal, speeding, theft, domestic violence, burglary, aggravated menacing burglary. So a second arrest has been made in the Nolan Wells case, and it's been over threats 2 days in a row. Now, not only that, people are going around saying that Katie and the Nolan Wells family know each other. So I did some digging and some research. I'm going to show you guys what I have found because there is some discrepancies going on between if she knows the family and if not. So we're going to talk about that. And not only that, the friends of Nolan Wells, Warren and what they are planning on suing. They're going to be suing creators. They're going to be suing media outlets, and they're going to be suing Ben Crump. We're going to talk about if they have a leg to stand on to even sue somebody. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases, missing individuals, anything true crime involving other fugitives or crimes that have not been solved. And we take a deep dive and a deep look into these cases, bigger than what big media would give you. And sometimes I'm able to give you a different point of view on these cases because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I actually ran for 15 years, lived in different countries under different names, then eventually turned myself in. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I run this YouTube channel. I help people locate missing individuals and also locate fugitives that have done something horrific to family members because I know what it takes to vanish. I know what it takes to be on the run, so I know how to think like them. Well, we're continuing to deep dive into the Nolan Wells situation. We all know Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old that unfortunately lost his life off of Horn Island 4th of July weekend. Well, there's been a second arrest that has been made, okay, over threats, all right? And not just to the judge, but to the whole building. Now, you have to remember, this is a federal building. So I'm going to bring up to you their actually charges, the crime affidavit. We're going to read all that because I bring up the whole receipts right here is what I do. And I'm going to show you this person's background. The background is, we're talking about extensive charges, just like the first person who was arrested, okay? Not only that, we're going to talk about a little bit about Katie and if she really knows the family of Nolan, because some people were telling me that Katie actually knows the family of Nolan Wells. Guys, I'm going to show you what I found. I'm going to tell you what I found, okay? If she really does know the family of Nolan Wells. And not only that, there's a little detail, okay? A little detail that is very, I'm talking about it could be very important, which actually to me personally makes no sense. Wait till you hear about that. First, let's talk about the second arrest that's been made. So there's a second arrest that has been made. I'm going to read to you guys a quick article from the Sun Herald, and they kind of give you a brief explanation of who's been arrested, what she did, and I'm also going to show you the official court docs about what she did, and not only that. Now, if you're not aware of this, there was an arrest, okay, a little bit over 24 hours ago. The person got arrested for threatening Ashley Cole, who is the judge, Warren's mom, okay? So they got arrested for threatening Ashley Cole. This person lives way out in California, and they tried to make an email address up, which was dumb because the email address actually had the area code of where they live at. And then they made up a Facebook and started messaging Ashley Cole. And the threats were basically saying, hey, He was actually even calling the phone too, but the threats are even saying, "Hey, I'm going to send this, I'm going to send that, blow you up." All kind of things were going on. Some of the stuff I can't use on YouTube, okay? So forgive me. But they ended up finding him and got arrested. For one, FBI is involved in this case now, so you don't mess around with them. They're going to find you real quick. And people are wondering why this person got arrested so quick. You have to remember, Ashley Cole, she is a judge. She's pretty much part of government property. It would be like threatening a police officer, a federal agent. So you have to remember that. So we all know if you went outside right now and you got into a fight with a regular citizen, you can go to jail and you can get some charges of assault. But if you went outside right now and let's say got into a fight with a police officer, we all know it's a big difference. We know that, all right? So let me read to you right now about the second person. This lady is out of Ohio. Wait till you hear about her record. She has an extensive record, guys. And not only does she have an extensive record, the other guy, actually, who got arrested the other day, his record was even worse because he was an offender. He was an actual offender, all right? So it says Cincinnati woman, second arrest over threats for Nolan Wells case. A Cincinnati woman has been charged in federal court with making a series of BOMB threats. Now, remember, I told you, YouTube, I have to watch certain languages because what they'll do is they'll flag the channel or flag the video and not spread it out, all right? So targeting 2 Mississippi government offices. This is, first of all, targeting 2 Mississippi government offices. You're not just targeting somebody, you're targeting government offices. So that means everybody, even in the building, government federal property. During the aftermath of the death investigation involving Nolan Xavier Wells, according to records filed in the case, Michelle Francine Edwards is charged in a federal criminal complaint with transmitting in interstate commerce a threatening communication to take out or injure another person and to damage or destroy a building. Remember, this is federal building. This is who it is, guys. Look at who this is. Make all the comments below you want. Go right on ahead. Go right on ahead, because I already know what you're thinking. Oh, man. Michelle Francine Edwards. This is crazy. The charge carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in federal prison, a fine of up to $250K, and up to 3 years of supervised release if convicted. This is the same exact charges that the first person was convicted of, or not convicted, but charged with, okay? According to the criminal complaint, which we're going to go over, Edwards multiple threatening phone calls on July 23rd to the George County Chancery Clerk's office. Now, this is where Ashley Cole, the judge, works, all right? And the Jackson County Sheriff and the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. She didn't just threaten her and that building. She also threatened the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Wow, wow. While concealing her identity by blocking her caller ID. Guys, blocking your caller ID doesn't work. And I'm just letting you right now, it doesn't work. It's 2026, all right? There's too much technology to be thinking I'm gonna block my ID. If somebody knows how to unblock it and see who it is, we did it just recently. So we can do it over here. We know that they can do it. Investigators alleged Edwards first began calling the George County Chancery Clerk's office at about 1:34 p.m. using a blocked telephone number. She alleged placed approximately 21 calls over an 8-minute period. This woman ain't got no job between 1:34 and 1:42 p.m. Maybe she did have a job, but she's on lunch break from Home Depot. I don't know. During these calls, the complaint says Edwards repeatedly threatened employees, making statements including, "Do not go outside, the clock is ticking," and then DIE. Wow. This is crazy. Authorities allege Edwards also made a threat against George County Courthouse during the barrage of calls. About 20 minutes later, investigators say Edwards began calling the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. The complaint alleges she used the *67 feature, which will block your number, okay, before she made the calls. And she's telling them basically there's a BOMB outside, don't go outside. Then she calls again saying, hey, y'all still there? Let's take a look at this. All right, so this is the official criminal complaint out of Mississippi Southern Division, okay? And this is against Michelle Francine Edwards, all right? It says, you're affidavit currently employed as investigator by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, presently assigned full-time to Federal Bureau of Investigation. So this is an FBI agent. FBI agent, okay? Your client has been employed by the JCSO for approximately 7 years. So they're talking about the beginning of this tells you as an FBI agent. There's also a agent with the sheriff's office as well that's involved with this too. And then they pretty much give a background of who they are. Then it goes on to say, the affirmation instance involved investigations relating to the violations of both Title 18 and Title 21 of the United States Code. I am authorized by law or the government agency to engage in or supervise the prevention, detention, investigation, or prosecution of a violation of federal criminal law. So basically they are saying, you know, that they have the authority to investigate everything that has been going on with this person and what they have done. So it says on July 23rd, 2026, Michelle Francine Edwards placed a BOMB threat to the George County Chancery Clerk's office. And it gives you the times, which I told you earlier, 1:34 p.m. and 1:42 p.m. Following the threat placed on George County Chancery Clerk's office, Edwards placed an additional threat to the Jackson County's office at approximately 2 p.m. All right. Then it says on about July 23rd, an unidentified individual at the time who was later identified as Edwards utilized a blocked phone number to call the office of the George County Chancery Clerk approximately 21 times between the hours of 1:34 p.m. and 1:42 p.m. During the course of these calls, Edwards stated, "Do not go outside and the clock is ticking, okay? Or you will be taken out." An emergency disclosure requested was submitted to C-Spire, in which the subject telephone number was identified as, and then it tells you. Her background report, guys, is extensive. Aggravated robbery, theft, felony aggravated robbery, felony assault, damaging or endangering, attempted, failure to disclose personal, speeding, theft, domestic violence, burglary, aggravated menacing burglary. She has an extensive background, okay? And it goes on. That is not even it. She has got supervised probation. She's even done a little bit of a time. I mean, can you tell by the mugshot that we showed you earlier? And then right here, disorderly conduct, aggravated menacing, robbery again, receiving stolen property, criminal damaging, receiving stolen property, aggravated robbery. It just goes on and on and on. So guys, sending threats is not going to solve anything. Now, I know me talking to you and telling you this, and I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to the people who have the low IQs. It's not going to solve anything. And I know me telling you this is probably not going to change your mind. But hey, I figure I at least try. It just makes no sense. What are you trying to solve by doing this? What are you trying to do? Go back to jail? Go back to prison like the last two people? Now, I do hear some people saying, why are they arresting these people? What about the people who sent death threats to Nolan Wells' mom family? Now, I have read articles that they have received threats. I haven't personally seen threats. If somebody knows any like threats that have been sent and you have proof of it, please show me. You can put a link below. Let me know below. You can even email me because I haven't personally seen any. But for you guys that look at this case and trying to do videos on this case and really haven't done research, I'm telling you right now, this case is easily every day 3 hours of research on sometimes just one topic because there's so much BS out there on this case. And the research is ridiculous to try and figure out what's the truth and what's not. Now, like I said, I do know there's articles and stuff, not articles, but people are saying, you know, Nolan's mom and them are getting death threats, which they probably are. I'm not saying they're not. I just haven't seen any. So I'm wondering what kind of threats these are getting. Now, when it comes to Ashley Cole and this side, we also don't know exactly, you know, what's going on, if she's getting these threats and sending them to the police right away. Now, I do know once you call these federal buildings like the last two people did, once you make phone calls to those buildings, it don't matter who you're threatening. You're threatening the whole government building. So that is a big difference, all right? Let you try and do that right now and see what happens. You're going down. Now, the friends of Nolan Wells, you know, Warren and the other three boys, a lot of people have put under scrutiny, and people are even sharing like AI doctored images of it. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. I can say here, we have not been sharing any AI doctored images. Matter of fact, we've been debunking them. So we can proudly say that here on Fugitive TV, we have not been doing that. And we have not been blaming anybody for anything. What we do is we just show you facts that comes to us as in police reports, pictures, or anything like that, with maybe if timelines match, and we give it to you, okay? The boys put out a give, send, go. It is like a GoFundMe. So let me show you this real quick, all right? Very similar to a GoFundMe, all right? Let me move myself here. As you see, the goal is $100,000. They've raised $33,000, all right? And it says, stand with Nolan Wells' targeted friends. On Independence Day weekend of 2026, lives were changed forever when a group of friends lost their best friend, Nolan Wells. No family should have to endure the pain of losing a son, and no friend should have to grieve the loss of a brother. But instead of being allowed to mourn, what followed was an unprecedented online campaign of accusations, harassment, threats, and defamation. All right. And we're going to talk about defamation. We're going to talk about this. All right. Since Nolan's death, Warren Hudson, Jack Plato, Morgan Seymour, and many others have been inundated with threats of violence, defamation. They have been falsely and wrongly blamed by individuals online in the media of either directly or indirectly having a hand in Nolan's passing. Most of them could not even attend their own best friend's funeral. Why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. Since the beginning of the investigation, these young men have cooperated with authorities, turned over all the information they've had, and provided an overwhelming number of witnesses accounting for their whereabouts. Now, I can, from what I have seen, to anybody out there is watching this video and has not done their research, that still thinks these people have not been investigated or have not been cooperating, these people have been cooperating since that night. I have phone calls of dispatch of them going to the judge's house that same night to go and, you know, get a statement from them. Not only that, I also have the documents that showed they signed over their rights to the boats to have it seized, not just seized, but searched as well. All right. So they have been cooperating. All right. So I do know by looking at official police documents, they have been cooperating. All right. So if you guys are wondering about that, I have a video like 3 or 4 videos ago where I actually show the documents that shows they were cooperating. So I can't sit here and say they weren't, because they were. Some of them even resorted to speaking up publicly to defend themselves against baseless allegations. But unfortunately, it has become clear that the truth doesn't matter. Countless large voices across social media declared them guilty of crimes they could not have committed and have never been charged with. Their names, faces, and personal information were spread across the internet. They and their families have received thousands of hateful messages, death threats, and calls for violence. They have been threatened online and in person countless times. There have been threats, packages sent, credible threats of which arrests have been made. We just talked about the second one. Parents have feared for their children's safety. Lives have been turned upside down. And it goes on to say Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the usual suspects of social media personalities, national news media, and local. I have a feeling that if I was to criticize anything, I think maybe the usual suspects should have not been put in here. I don't think that should, because I have a feeling there's some people out there that's going to take. Now, I know what they mean by usual suspects. Usual suspects of social media personalities, national news media, and local provocateurs, continuing to invent and spread false narratives. Now, I know what they mean by usual suspects of social media personalities. Basically saying the same people who like to spread false things, because there's individuals out there, I see them all the time. What they do is they just spread narratives without showing you any sort of fact. And then people do believe it because they have a big following. So I do see that out there. And I see it out there from both sides, not just one side, but I see it out there a lot. So I know what they mean by usual suspects, but I wish they wouldn't have said that, because I see some people are going to just read that part and take it the wrong way. This is the typical tactic of Ben Crump and the like. They come to communities like the Gulf Coast under the guise of seeking justice, but it has become painfully clear that their version of justice is stirring division, ruining lives, and then leaving the money as dried up. We have seen the same pattern time again, most recently during the Carmelo Anthony trial. No matter what anyone believes about an ongoing investigation, our legal system exists for a reason. Evidence belongs in the hands of law enforcement and the courts, and not online mob campaigns fueled by rumors, edited clips, edited audio, speculation, and misinformation. This must stop. This fund is created for the sole purpose of fighting these individuals. Our goal is simple and twofold. Our goal is to raise money to defend these friends against incoming wrongful death actions filed by Attorney Crump and his team. Our second goal was to fund a robust legal team to sue for the litany of slander and libel being spread by most only Crump, but also many social media influencers, news outlets, and local profiteers who know better. If litigation becomes necessary, this fund will help provide the financial support needed to investigate. So they're pretty much starting this to sue people, to be like, hey, we're not going to sit here and be punching bags. That's pretty much what they're saying, all right? Now, all these funds, it was started by Benjamin Hudson, which I believe is Dr. Benjamin Hudson. He's the same one putting up the $50,000 for the reward if anybody knows something. Now, all the money goes to Taylor and Cox Law Firm, PA. All right. So I looked them up. They really are a law firm dedicated to your justice, committed to success. All right. Legal experts you can rely when results matter. So all the money will be going to them. All right. And it looks like they are based out of Mississippi. Yes, they are based out of Mississippi. So they are based out of the Mississippi area. So all money is going to them. So it is a legit law firm right there. But do they have the right to possibly sue for defamation? What do you think? Let me know below before I pull up some facts on if they can or not. Y'all let me know. So there is people out there that have been making false allegations. There is, without showing any sort of proof. All right. And there's people out there that's been doctoring evidence. Okay. And then on top of doctoring the evidence, making that evidence seem like something it's not. All right. So let's look at what it takes to sue somebody over, defamation of character is pretty much what it is. All right, let's take a look here. So right here, all right, you have the right to sue someone for defamation of character if they make a false statement of fact to a third party that causes measurable harm to your reputation. All right. False statement of fact. The claim must be an assertion of fact that can be proven false, not a personal opinion, joke, or exaggeration. You guys get that? So the claim must be an assertion of fact that can be proven false. All right, not a personal opinion, joke, or exaggeration. So basically, if somebody has opinion or makes a joke, because comedians get sued all the time if that was the case, but if they have an opinion or makes a joke, a little bit different. But if somebody comes out with a reporting saying this is a fact, I know they did it, or this is what they did, or this is what they have, or something like that, that's not your opinion. That's you saying, I know this is what they did. So you get that? So publication, the statement must be communicated either in writing, libel, or spoken out loud slander to at least one person other than yourself. Meaning, these people on TikTok, YouTube, big media, stuff like that, you're in front of tons of people. A lot of my videos get 5 to 10 to 20K, some of them even 50K views. So whatever I'm saying shows to 50,000 people sometimes, all right? Reputation harm, here's the big one. You must show that the statement injured your reputation, such as causing financial loss, job termination. Guys, public humiliation. There's not one person right now that can't deny that if these boys end up being innocent, nobody can't deny that they can't sue over public humiliation. They've been humiliated in public. Here is a couple notable cases of social media people that have been sued. Tasha K, real name was Latasha Kibi. The gossip YouTuber was sued by rapper Cardi B in 2019 over dozens of videos spreading false rumors about the rapper's health and personal life. In 2022, a jury ordered Kibi to pay, I don't even know if I'm saying her name right, but Kibi to pay Cardi B over $4 million in damages and legal fees. And a lot of people don't believe this woman even got $4 million. All right. Ashley Gouliard, a TikTok creator who posted fabricated videos falsely accusing a University of Idaho professor of involvement in the 2022 Moscow, Idaho student, okay, which that whole thing that happened, the professor sued for defamation and a jury ordered Gilliard to pay $10 million in damages. Ryan Upchurch, a Nashville-based YouTuber and commentator who faced a major defamation lawsuit from the relatives of Kylie, a teenager who went missing in California. Upchurch claimed her disappearance was a hoax or fundraising scheme, resulted in massive $17.5 million defamation verdict against them. All right. And it goes on. All right. It even shows Candace even got sued at one point. Friendly Jordan Shanks. There's a lot of people who have been sued over, defamation of character. Now, for one, which I've showed you guys this before, this is just one thing that Ben Crump has spread. And look, he reposted this, and I've showed you guys this. He reposted this picture, and it says, Warren, Nolan was cradling the girl on his lap last time I saw him. And it goes, Warren Tacito, 7 living, breathing people on board when asked how many souls are on board repeatedly. Looks like Nolan with the girl on Wyatt's boat on his lap, not on an island, and 7 people on board. Okay? Now, this is the picture that he reposted. All right, the picture he reposted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they're counting this leg as 7. And if you zoom in, they make it look, the leg look dark. They were trying to say that this is Nolan Wells' leg. He's laying here. And they were trying to say all that, but that wasn't even the real picture. That's the real picture. So this is the actual real picture. Okay. And the other one was doctored. And you can see, yeah, there's 7 people. There's one on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is not Nolan's leg. So if you zoom in, you can see. And matter of fact, if you look on the back, this is a Yamaha. This is a Yamaha. The boat they're talking about had the Suzuki back, the Triton. So just with that alone, that repost alone that he did could ruin somebody's reputation. And then he reposted it, and Ben Crump reposted it from this person, Heather Houston. So she can get sued too, because where did she doctor? The picture originally came from the Officer Tatum show. The picture is part of a video. So the picture originally came from the Officer Tatum show, but the original picture is that picture. All right. And then somebody took it and doctored it. Now I'm not saying she did that, but where did she get the picture from? Or did she doctor it? And then Crump, instead of doing his research, spread it. So, and guys, that's just one thing that's going on. It's easy to go on YouTube right now, go on TikTok, and see people saying stuff that is saying, this is fact. This happened. This is fact. This happened. This is fact. This happened. When we don't know if it's fact. Now, the other day I did a live, okay? And we were talking about how Nolan Wells stayed behind with Katie. And I always thought it was weird that I've done so many cases, guys, since I've had this channel. Now, my channel has blown up a lot. Within a year. I'm already at almost approaching 35,000 subscribers. Okay. Thank you guys so much. So please like and subscribe. I'm one of the fastest growing channels in all of YouTube. I'm in actually 25 percentile. Channel is growing huge, but I've done so many cases. Okay. So this is not my first rodeo. I've done so many cases, and not only that, my criminal activity I did myself, obviously, but I've realized by doing these cases, you have to keep an open mind. You have to. You have to. Okay? Because when you have a closed mind towards certain things, you're only going to see one way. You're only going to see one exit on your path. You're only going to want to see one lane when you need to look at the full entire traffic. You need to see who's driving what. You need to see what exit is better. You need to see everything, because you don't know who's approaching you with what. You don't know who's passing you if you only have tunnel vision. So you need to keep your eyes open for all clues. So since this island had 1,000 people on it, my eyes are open towards everybody. Okay? Everybody. I'm even Javon. My eyes are open towards everybody, because in my book, if I was an investigator, I wouldn't just be looking at one person. I'm looking at everybody. I'm going to get everybody's statements. I'm going to make sure they match up what they said. And whoever's statement doesn't match, then we're going to go back and re-question them. And we're going to put them to the fire and see if we can get them to tell the truth or try and figure out why their statement didn't match, because obviously they're probably hiding something. Now, I brought up the whole Katie situation. Now, we know, we can't deny everybody on that island was drinking. Okay, I don't care what you want to say. Nolan's in a picture with a high noon himself that's wide open. In the official email that I even showed in my live, it says alcohol intake heavy. Right before it says clothing shorts. So everybody there was drinking. All right. So it's not unusual, and it wouldn't be unusual for an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, even 16, even grown men to stay behind with a female. Like, yeah, you guys go on ahead. I'm staying behind with this girl, because we all have done it. There's not one of us that pretty much has not ever done that. All right. Especially, we've all done that. So I start bringing up her, and I was like, how come nobody really questions her? Nobody, it seems like everybody gives her a pass. And I'm wondering why. Well, some people are saying, well, Katie is friends with the family. Katie knows the family. The family cleared Katie. The family can clear you all you want to, but what about the police? So guys, I started digging and into if Katie knows the family or not. All right? Because I remember a certain somebody saying they never met her before. Now, I don't know what I should show you first. because somebody is lying. And you guys can let me know, what do you think? All right. Let me show you this article first. I'm going to show you this article. Now, this article comes from the Daily Mail. All right. I got an email from, shout out to Daphne Case Files. Go follow her. I got an email from her. She was the first person that pointed this article out to me. All right. Now, originally, this article was behind a paywall, meaning you got to pay $1, whatever, to see it. Okay. I was able to get past the paywall. I don't know if they still have it up. If you guys can go, try and check it out from dailymail.com. So let me read to you what they say. All right. Now, there are pictures of Katie on here, and there's another picture of another person, but I'm not going to show them because I don't know if they want to be blasted, even though everybody knows what Katie looks like. So I'm just letting you know right now. Right. So it says Katie is from Pascagoula, about 17 miles east of Wells' home in Ocean Springs, and known to host large gatherings at her parents' house. One of Wells' relatives, Jackson County Sheriff's deputy, all right, and I believe her name is Kedriana McKinney, posted in support of McCormick after she received a torrent of abuse, claiming she played a role in Nolan's death. It goes on to say, we all know and love Katie. Nobody as far as my family is blaming Katie. We all love her whole family. She has spent many events with our whole family in Three Rivers countless times, she wrote. My family has no vendetta out against her whatsoever. We love her. I think we are just trying to understand what happened. Jackson County Sheriff John, and then it goes on to the actual sheriff. Now, allegedly, they're saying they got this from a deputy named Kedriana McKinney, all right, who posted in support of Katie, saying that Katie is friends with the family. They all love Katie, all right? We all know and love Katie. Nobody as far as my family is blaming Katie. We all love her and our whole family. She has spent many events with our whole family in Three Rivers countless times, she wrote. My family has no vendetta out against her whatsoever. We love her. I think we are just trying to understand what happened. All right. This also says this deputy is one of Wells' relatives. All right. One of Wells' relatives, Jackson County Sheriff's Deputy, Kedriana, I don't know how you pronounce it, McKinney. Now, I'm going to show you something. And you're probably gonna be like, what the F? But before I show you that, before we even talk about Katie, one of Wells' relatives, Jackson County Sheriff's Deputy, Kedriana McKinney. Now, I went and looked at Katie's social media, and you guys know me. I'm good about doing my research. I looked at her social media. Now, I did see that she have some people with the last name of Wells on her social media. Those people with the last name of Wells, though, I couldn't connect as of yet because I'm still doing research. I couldn't connect those Wells being relatives with the same Nolan Wells. I couldn't have anyway with the ones on her social media. But you know who I did find on her social media? I found this Kedriana McKinney on Katie's social media. So they are friends on social media. So they probably do know each other. And this person, if they are a Jackson County Sheriff's Department, who's investigating the Nolan Wells case? In the Jackson County, it's not like an Ocean Springs police. It's Jackson County, right? That's investigating the Nolan Wells case. Let me know below. Isn't it Jackson County? And if the Nolan Wells family members have a sheriff, a deputy, that's working for the county, but they were saying that, or I should say, Ben Crump has been saying, let me get it right. Ben Crump has been saying We want to make sure there's a thorough investigation and stuff is done right. Well, if you got a family member that's a deputy, don't you have an inside scoop? Don't you have a little bit of, don't you have a plug that most people do when something happens? If your relative works there where the investigation is happening? So if the investigation wasn't going the right way and something was going sideways, you would think the relative would be able to be like, hold on, wait, guys, this, when I saw this, I was just confused. I was confused because I was like, hold on, if this is correct, and they do have a deputy that's a family member of the Wells that works in the office that's investigating the death of Nolan, then they have an inside connection right there, a plug that should be able to tell people and tell them everything. So if that's the case, I don't get how these narratives were spread in the first place, that nobody was investigated and it didn't make sense. And this, guys, it just, when I saw this, like, hold on, wait. Now, just because they're a deputy does not mean they know all the ins and outs of this investigation. Obviously, I know that, but still, you would think this person would have more connection than me, than you, than any regular person on the street, because they're already working inside the building with the people who are doing the investigation. So you would think they would be able to see something, right? Now, I am going to show you this too. Because when people were telling me that Katie knew the family, I was like, how's this? Because I remember Nolan's mom saying, I never met the girl.
Yes, it's definitely unusual for any teenager to part with their cell phone. This young woman, Katie, who's been cited in these various recollections of what happened that day, do you know if she's been identified? Has anyone spoken to her?
She has been identified. I do not know if anyone has spoken to her. Again, we just have not heard much, right? From our local authorities, which kind of, we're glad that we have kind of taken this course, however it may end. We're glad we did, because just because of this right now, not, being able to have that communication. I just would think with situations like this, you know, they would be more forthcoming, like, hey, let us keep you up to date. We understand the seriousness of the situation and, what you guys are going through. So yeah, but we don't know. We've never met Katie. I've never seen her in my life. She did reach out to me initially, just saying basically like it was a hey and bye type situation. And I was like, that's not what I'm getting from other people. So, like I said, before, a lot of inconsistencies.
So you have his mom saying I never met the girl, right? And that, they talked after the whole Nolan thing. So if she's never met the girl, then this article is saying, oh, we all know and love Katie. Nobody as far as my family is blaming Katie. We all love her and her family. And this deputy, I went to their social media as well. And when this whole Nolan Wells thing first happened, they were posting saying prayers for my family, like Nolan Wells is part of her family. That's what McKinney was posting. So if she's posting that, then Nolan Wells must be part of her family. So right here, she's saying we all know and love Katie. Nobody as far as my family is blaming Katie. But I just showed you a clip of Nolan Wells' mom saying we don't know this girl. So which one is it? Who's lying? I don't care what you say. Somebody. We all know and love them. We love her. We love her, not just like her. We love her. She spent plenty of time at many events with our whole family. She put whole family in Three Rivers countless times. Guys, is this confusing to me or as it is to you? So did you know this girl or did you not know this girl? Because my question to that is, if you did know this girl, then that means if the boys took off, that means Nolan wasn't left with just somebody. Think about that. Let's put Javon in Katie's spot. And let's say the story was, oh, we left Nolan with Javon. Would the uproar be as bad now? Because they left Nolan on the island, but they left him with a so-called friend. So would it be as bad? So if this is true, if it's true, and Katie has known the family, when they left Nolan and Nolan was like, I want to stay with Katie. I mean, she's a friend of the family, right? Guys, it doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. Now, I am going to show you this right here. I am going to show you this, all right? Because let me show you this too. Now, there is a website called Media Bias Fact Checked. Now, Daily Mail is known for putting out articles without fact checking. So all you got to do is go here. If you're curious about if the source is reputable or not, Daily Mail, bias, credibility, all right? Then you put right here, it will show the political profile, all right? It says Daily Mail is rated right with low factual reporting by the Media Bias Fact Check. Then it shows you right here. Daily Mail, when it comes to the left and the right, we know how that politics work, left, right. Because Fox leans towards more right and CNN leans towards more left. And then you have places like News Nation who claims to be in the middle, right? So Daily Mail, look at this. When it comes to the left, all blue. So they report, meaning everything in the left favor, all right? And then also libertarian. When it comes to the right, nothing. So basically everything they report tends to lean towards the left narrative. If you get what I'm saying. And then look right here. See this meter down below? That's fact check. If you go way over here, this will tell you, the blue will tell you that, hey, these people are reliable for doing fact checks. Now look way right here. Low. A questionable source exhibits one or more of the following extreme bias: constant promotion of propaganda, conspiracies, poor or no sourcing or credible information, a complete lack of transparency, and or is fake news. Fake news is deliberate attempt to publish hoaxes or disinformation for profit, influence. Sources listed in the questionable category may be very untrustworthy and should be fact-checked on a per article basis. Please note sources on this list are not considered fake news unless written and so you guys get where I'm going with this. Now, just to show you guys, all right, the Daily Mail is widely classified by media watchdogs, fact checkers, and platform regulators as an unreliable source that frequently publishes sensationalized, misleading, or inaccurate stories, okay? In 2017, Wikipedia editors restricted the use of Daily Mail as a reliable citation, advising volunteers to treat it as a generally unreliable due to a history of fabricated facts and poor fact checking. All right. The Independent Press Standards Organization, IPSO, has repeatedly held the paper accountable for publishing inaccurate or distorted information, including forced retractions and regarding climate change coverage. Media rating tools like NewsGuard have flagged the site for failing to maintain basic standards of accuracy. Guys, I shouldn't have to say anymore. So now that I gave you that, okay, now that I gave you that, is this article true by the Daily Mail? Is this true? Now, the one thing I can say is true is Katie and this deputy are friends on social media. That I verified myself. That's reliable. All right. The deputy on their social media put post basically saying that Nolan Wells is family, saying pray for my family with Nolan Wells post. so that you could say could be reliable. The rest of this, though, as in family functions, we've known her for a long time, we love her. I can't verify that. But if that's true, and we go back to this,
So yeah, but we don't know. We've never met Katie. I've never seen her in my life. She did reach out to me initially.
then we go back to original reports of Nolan Wells was left with some girl that he just met. And then everybody's in uproar. Why would you leave your friend with this girl he just met? Well, if this is true, if it's true, then people shouldn't be mad if he stayed behind for a friend of the family. I don't know. If it's true. And if this is true, why would the mom say we didn't know her? So which one is it? I don't know. You guys let me know below. Let me know below what you think. There's been so much confusion when it comes to narratives of this case that it is ridiculous, okay? Especially for people like me, when all we want to do is, when it comes to any case that we cover, is find the truth. Find exactly what happened to the person. All the cases I've covered, I don't care if people like what I had to say about what possibly could have happened to the victim, because some people don't want to hear it, but you have to hear it. There's a little thing, okay? Most people want to hear what they want to hear, but they don't want to hear what they need to hear. All right? That's when feelings need to be separated from sometimes common sense, okay? Facts and knowledge. But feelings a lot of times will get in the way, and you don't want to hear what you need to hear. Once I learned that, not just with this channel, not just with these cases, but in life, life got so much easier for me. And no matter what I needed to do, sometimes I myself need to hear something that maybe I might not want to hear. All right? Lesson of the day for everybody. But let me know what you guys think. All right? Let me know what you think. And if you have any other sources or anything that shows one or the other, which one's a lie and which one's the truth on, especially this last thing we're talking about, all right? Because this article came from the Daily Mail, and Daily Mail was not really reputable, all right? But some of the stuff they're saying, was able to verify. So, but then you have Nolan's mom talking about we don't know the girl. So many questions. So many questions. I still have a question for Javon. Why didn't Javon call Nolan's mom before Warren? What time did he actually leave at? What boat did he leave on? I have questions about that. It's very, very confusing. It really is. And I said this in my live. Some people like that Ben Crump got involved. Me personally, I don't. I don't find anything wrong with the family suing anybody if something happened. Some sort of negligence, wrongful death. All these people were drinking and they weren't even old enough to drink, and driving boats at the same time. So if you want to hold somebody responsible, hey, who gave him the alcohol? If it becomes an accidental death, if that's what it is, you still couldn't sue somebody if it says accidental death due to intoxication. Now who gave him the alcohol? Because we know he couldn't buy it. And if he did buy it, what store sold it to him? So now you can do the lawsuits and things like that. So I agree with that. All right. If you think the sheriff's county is not doing a proper investigation, first of all, the investigation's still going. So you don't even know if it's doing a proper investigation yet or not, because it's still ongoing. So how do you know if it's ongoing still? Now, we do know that people have been interrogated, or people have been questioned, I should say, and there has been searches. So we do know that because I even have the facts for that. And I'm still wondering about the other girl that was questioned. And how did she get into the involvement? And she says, oh, I didn't see Nolan Wells for a year. So who threw her name? I'm interested to know who threw her name in it. Okay. And how did she get involved? And why did this person say she was there with Nolan? And now she's saying she wasn't. And we're not talking about Katie. We're talking about a whole different girl. Then you have people now saying they stayed back with Nolan and that Nolan was seen on the island at 6 o'clock. Because I did get an anonymous tip of somebody saying, hey, I seen him too, because he asked for a ride and we were at capacity. So you have all this stuff coming out. All right. You have all these pictures and videos with no timestamp, no timeline. So what's going on? What exactly is going on? And Katie put out some pictures with some metadata timestamp. All right. She was still on the island past 5:30, but all her pictures don't show Nolan in the pictures. Now, allegedly, I couldn't see it where these pictures originated from. I read that they came from, I guess, a Biloxi group chat. I'm not sure, but these are allegedly pictures. Allegedly, I'm not sure that Katie dropped. All right, and right here on the bottom, it shows you Jackson County, Mississippi, July 4th, 5:24 p.m. And then it says delete snap my eyes only. And there's no Nolan Wells in the picture, but also this is a very cropped picture too. You don't know whoever else is, around, but it's only these two, right? So then you have 5:35 p.m. Jackson County, and this right here is a picture of her. But once again, it's a very cropped picture. You don't know who else is in this picture. Now, this picture shows more people. This is allegedly at 5:44, which you do have people right here. But then again, this is also just one side of the boat. There's a whole other side of the boat. So we don't know who's on the other side of the picture. All right. Then you have this picture right here at 6:02. Okay. Now you can see Nolan is not in this, but all these pictures are cropped. So you don't even know who's actually all in the picture or not, or I should say outside of the picture. But I figure I'll show you guys that. I don't know exactly if she dropped these or not. That part, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out of exactly where these came from. Once I found out, I will let you guys know. But once again, let me know what you guys think. Please like and subscribe below. Comment where you're watching from. How long you been watching me from? Has it just been the Nolan Wells, or have you been watching me for a while now? And like, subscribe, join the membership. It helps the channel grow. It helps it grow to what I'm trying to get this channel to: full time, do more lives for you and things like that. All right. And do more cases for you. Comment below where you're watching from, city, state, if you like. Look below how you can get in touch with me if you want to send any tips in, or just want to tell me what type of a job you think I'm doing. Hey, whatever it is, I don't care. All right. And I want to say, whatever happens in this case, however it turns out, all right, however it turns out, I really hope that nobody did anything to him. Rest in peace. My condolences go out to him and his family. And I hope that nobody did anything to him. I really do. I know some people don't hope that. They want the worst. I hope nobody did nothing to him. But if somebody did, and somebody's seen something, and you're scared, try and find an outlet. Hey, you can even send me a tip. Go ahead. I don't care. Now, I have reached out to people to try and get interviews with them. So we'll see if they respond back, because my platform is an open platform. So I've reached out to people on both sides. We'll find out. All right. Well, people, please take care of one another. Love one another. All right. Look out at your surroundings. Watch your surroundings. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.